Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. My name is Dil, and I am going to be presenting to you today on the Impact Startup Visas program with Spring Activator. So, to get started, a little quick introduction on myself. So, my name is Dil. I'm the program operations lead here at Spring for the ISV program, and I oversee operations for the Impact Startup Visa program with a really awesome team here at Spring. Also, just really quickly from the very beginning, I will from now on call the Impact Startup Visa Program the ISV program. It's quite a mouthful, so I don't want to say it every time. So if you hear me say ISV, I'm talking about the Impact Startup Visa Program. So a little bit about myself. I was born here in Canada, and I'm actually a child of immigrant entrepreneurs myself. I watched my parents build a life for us here in Canada and work as hard as they possibly could to provide us with, opportunities they didn't have when they were growing up. And that's really what fuels my passion to help others. I wanted to dedicate my life to that. And after working in the tech industry for a little bit, I found Spring, and here I am now. So I just wanted to share a little bit about myself before we get started. Okay, so what is the Impact Startup Visa Program? Very good question. And it's answered right there. It's an immigration pathway to Canada. So the the Startup Visa Program with the Canadian government is a path to permanent residency. It's designed to assist immigrant entrepreneurs help bring their businesses to Canada with the intention of settling here after they receive their permanent residency or PR. So you can see they're looking for immigrant entrepreneurs with the skills and potentials to build businesses that are innovative, that can create jobs for Canadians, and can compete on a global scale. So remember, think of those three things when you're thinking about your building your business. A little history about the SUV program as well. So SUV, when I say SUV program, I'm referring to the Startup Visa program, which is the branch of immigration pathway with the government. So it used to be a 5-year pilot program. It wasn't supposed to be permanent, but they liked it, so they made it permanent in about 2018. And we have been working with them since 2017. So that's been a really long time where we're really deeply entrenched in the SUV sphere of things. And we really do love the program. We really believe in it. The idea is to recruit innovative immigrant entrepreneurs to foster economic growth. So if you go on the IRCC government website, there's 52 incubators supporting startups through SUV. So you might ask, what makes Spring different? Why Spring? How does Spring stand out, right? What is unique about Spring? So it's exactly that. It's that I in ISV. It's the word impact. So we call our program the Impact Startup Visa Program because we are the only designated organization with the IRCC that is actively looking for entrepreneurs who want to make the world a better place. So that doesn't necessarily mean that your, business product has to be environmentally focused. There's the idea of social impact, a lot of health technology or education technology companies. And there's also, the idea of running your business in an impactful way. So whether that's diversity in the workplace or sustainable practices and how you run your businesses, there's so many different ways to embed impact into your entrepreneurship. And we're ready to help coach you on that. So don't count yourselves out if you think that your product is not focused on impact and you won't be impact based. So that's 2 points there. We've been an IRCC designated entity since 2017. We are impact focused. We have regional support networks. So we have a very, very diverse team, and we are spread across multiple provinces. I'm joining you from Vancouver here today, but we have our team in Toronto. And then we're spread across the prairies a bit as well. So we have somebody in Manitoba, somebody in Saskatchewan, somebody in Alberta, and we're always traveling. We always have different places to visit. So there's always opportunities to have support in various different networks, different areas. And the last thing I wanted to touch on here is that we are open to all industries. So a lot of the times people will ask us, well, what kinds of businesses are you looking for? Impact-based, innovative, industry does not matter. You could be, consulting, clean tech, agriculture, education, consumer goods, anything. We just love working with founders with diverse backgrounds and diverse industry experiences. So just like I said, think about impact and innovation. Those are your two words. And here's my next slide here. So just rehashing what we went through, we're looking for entrepreneurs and business leaders who are looking to start or move their business. And those leaders are seeking to make a positive impact through their work. And we want innovative people as well. So that's an IRCC requirement as well for your business to be innovative. And they want, something that supports social, economic, political environments to scale their solution. Forgive me, it's early here in Vancouver. On that note, if you'd like to pop into the chat, you can let us know where you're joining from. You can share your name. We love to see where everyone's coming from. And I believe there are some questions in the poll. So there should be a poll on the right side. So you can answer some questions there as well. So back to the presentation. We are the leading startup visa program in Canada, and we have supported 200 plus entrepreneurs from 30 plus countries with really great net promoter scores. We've graduated 18 cohorts. Our alumni is from everywhere: Vietnam, Mexico, Iran, India, Peru, Egypt, Brazil, everywhere. And our team really values feedback. So that's why we always ask our participants from each cohort to evaluate the program, which is what the Net Promoter Score is. So you can see that they think the value of the program and that the program can be recommended to other people. And we're really proud that we run a high quality program with high personal touch for each participant. So that just speaks to how our participants enjoy our program. And so the last one I want to touch on here is our offerings. So when you join the ISV program, there's a couple of things you'll get. So the first is the core program, which is 3 months of live sessions with our team as well as industry experts. You get your entire team gets access to an online course where there's curated resources and information. In the sessions, you'll be able to have, various huddle groups and discussion sessions where you have collective learning experiences. The paperwork aspects of it, of course, the commitment certificate or letter of support for PR. And, the last 3 there, introduction to Canadian ecosystem and community and network, you get added to this spring alumni network and you get to meet so many amazing entrepreneurs that really do become your support system. We actually had an alumni event really recently, and it was really nice to see people from different groups starting to chat, starting to mingle. I think some of them even set aside some time for their families to meet, and it's very nice. The last thing I'll touch on is business model and impact thesis development. So that's what I meant when I was talking about coaching. We coach you on your business, and we also coach you on your impact. So we help you with all of that if it's not necessarily there for you yet. So I just want to wrap things up by saying the overall objective of this program is to 1, help you move to Canada, 2, apply for PR status, 3, scale your business globally, and 4, create a positive social or environmental impact through entrepreneurship. We're super, super excited to see your applications come through. And at this moment, I'd actually like to introduce a special guest I have for today. This is going to be Rafael from Lakehouse Immigration. So now that I've spoken about the program side of things, we will take over and touch on the immigration side of things.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. It's good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm pretty sure we have people all over the globe, and we'd like to thank you all for showing up, and thank you, Dil, and all the other members of Spring for introducing this topic to the public and to bring in that information and possibility to inform them about the startup visa. As you know, my name is Rafael, and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant at Lakehouse Immigration. I have a little presentation here for you guys as well. Not going to be taking too much of the time with the presentation because I guess the most important thing here for today is to answer questions. I'm pretty sure people have a lot of questions. So I'm just going to very quickly introduce the company and the program itself, right? And then potentially some of the questions might be already answered as we go through this quick presentation, but of course I'll be around to answer more questions, okay? So very quickly about the company, we have two founders. Rodrigo is the CEO and co-founder. He has been working in immigration for quite a long time. And this is me, also working with immigration and immigration related matters in Canada for more than 10 years. When I actually became a Canadian immigration consultant, I did so because I wanted to bring a little bit more human-centric approach to this profession, which I think it was lacking at the time. And then I believe we're doing a good job with that. Our clients are very happy with the way that we conduct the applications. It's very different, very unique. So here is something about Lakehouse Immigration. We are specialized in startup visa, but we also work with a few other types of immigration for permanent residency and for temporary visas as well. And for the startup visa, which is the focus of today's presentation here, Dil touched a little bit on this one here. So for you the first three things that should come to your mind when you're looking at the startup visa are, is my business innovative? It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be a process, it could be many things. As long as you're bringing innovation to a specific area, to a specific sector, you are putting your company in that qualification there. Of course, you have to have an expectation to create jobs in Canada. This is also an important topic because a lot of companies have their growth plan by outsourcing their people in many countries, sometimes for qualified and cheaper labor. But for the startup visa, it must have the goal to also create jobs in Canada. And of course, the third one, also very important, to compete on a global scale, meaning putting the Canadian brand, let's say your company as a Canadian company, as the leading in your sector with your innovation, competing in a global market, okay? There are other criterias, and here we start to look a little bit more into the applicant itself, right? So for the applicant, you must have a minimum level of English or French for the startup visa, which is equivalent to CLB 5, Canadian Language Benchmark 5. This is, I would say, an intermediate English level or French level. You also are required to prove that you have enough funds. Now, the funds are supposed to be for you to settle in Canada. So there is a table of funds that ranges according with your family size, and then you are required to prove the funds to submit your application. One thing that not many people know, that are opportunities for the startup visa, which is a permanent residency application itself, but there is also an opportunity to apply for a work visa. And the work visa has a different proof of funds requirement, right? So this is an important thing to mention, though not many people know about it. Also, The startup visa allow a company to bring 5 founders. Okay, so for each one of the founders, there is a minimum number of equity in the business. So individually, the minimum is 10%. However, if you are a sole person in the business, you must have at least 50% in the business. Because the combination of all the founders must meet 50% or more, even though individually it's minimum 10%. So this is a bit confusing. Think about this. If you have a team of 3 people, if each one of you have 10%, you still have less than 50. So you have to have more than 10 so that each altogether you get to 50%. That's how it works. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you need to make sure that you meet the requirements for the minimum of 10%, but also for the minimum of 50% for the group. Okay, we can talk a little bit more about that in the Q&A if that explanation wasn't clear enough. And then, of course, we have the last criteria here, which is the letter of support that is issued by a designated organization like Spring as an incubator, which is a document that will provide the support that the incubator is giving to your company so that your company will learn how to grow in Canada. So here are some of the benefits for the individuals and for the company, right? So for the individuals, we have visas not only for the founders, but also for the family members. Immediate family members are spouses and dependents up to 21 years of age. As soon as they hit 22, they're no longer considered dependent. Also, for the dependent, they have free education in Canada until they complete high school. So you don't need to worry about paying for education until they complete high school. And that's when all Canadians actually pay for education in the post-secondary level. You also have access to the government medical system. Okay, so basically, even when you come as a worker, before you become a permanent resident, you will have access to the medical system. Now, something that is also important for from a personal level, right? You have an opportunity to apply for citizenship after you become a permanent resident and you stay in Canada for 3 years minimum. Okay, so this is an opportunity that this program will help you in the future in case you have any interest in becoming a Canadian citizen. And of course, for the kids that are, or no longer kids, but going to university, they will pay domestic fees to study the post-secondary level, as opposed to international fees, which are 3, sometimes 4 times higher. Now, for the business, we have very good point to point out as a benefit. For example, if you are looking for United States to expand your business, sometimes opening the door to United States, it's tough when you're in, let's say, Nigeria, or maybe in Peru, right? So, or maybe even in South Asia. But if you are in Canada, if you have a Canadian business, you have very facilitated access to the American market because of CUSMA, which is a free trade agreement between the 3 countries in North America. And you also have not only that agreement, but Canada has, if I'm not mistaken, more than 40 agreements with other countries. So basically, you will be able to open up your possibilities to a lot of countries to have that kind of a free trade agreement. And not only that, Canada has also a very thriving startup ecosystem. And as you could see, and Dil was mentioning, there is so much going on in the startup industry here. in many fields, in many different areas, that it's very possible for you to get a very good networking, start building relationships, and that will grow into a thriving business. So these are most of the benefits that I wanted to bring to you in terms of the startup visa. This is how we usually work. If you have not applied for the incubator yet, and you're wondering if you have a good application and you're not sure yet, you can send us an assessment form. We're going to have a Zoom call with you. The first Zoom call is going to be free with the company. It's not going to be with me, but we have Rodrigo, our CEO. He handles this first call with companies to make sure that you are in the right position to hire the consultation. If it makes sense, then you hire the consultation, and then we're going to make sure to evaluate not only you, but your family members too, and all your co-founders. Everyone needs to meet the requirements, not only the main applicants, but we also need to look at the background and admissibility for the family members. So basically, we do this consultation here to make sure that everyone is good to go and there are no red flags. And then once that we confirm, then if you haven't applied yet, then it's a good time to apply for the incubator. When you receive the letter of support from the incubator, we will start your application process, which is a very unique way that we handle applications. As I was mentioning in the beginning, I handle all applications for a startup visa personally, and I meet with each one of the founders in their businesses individually, so that I will make sure that your application is being supervised, it's being monitored, and it's being processed properly by me. Okay, so we're going to have multiple sessions where we're going to be talking about many of the important aspects of your application. And this way, we're going to make sure that you're going to submit a strong application, and you're going to have our support all the way until you get the results. Okay, so basically, that's pretty much what I had to present to you. As I mentioned, I didn't want to take too much time in the presentation, and just would like to open up the room for questions now, to make sure that we will be able to answer most of the questions that you may have today.
We'll do our best, right? Thanks, Rafael. That was great. So let's start pulling some questions here from the question box. A very interesting one that caught my eye from Ali Reza. If a member of my team is in the process of obtaining a USA green card and simultaneously applies for Canadian PR, will this cause confusion, raise red flags in both immigration offices? Is it feasible to pursue both without incurring conflicts?
Well, the two countries, United States and Canada, share information about immigration. One of the most important things about the startup visa is your intention to actually have your business in Canada and grow your business. You being eligible, and you can apply for permanent residency in both countries. There's no conflict in that. You are potentially possible to be a permanent resident in both, because you don't have to stay 100% of the time in Canada. So you should be able to stay in Canada, go to United States, and then maybe you're going to be doing business between the two countries. So there's not effectively a conflict in there, but you need to disclose that for sure, and you need to make sure that your intentions are very clear when you are applying for the startup visa.
Perfect. All right. So this next one I'm going to jump into is from Naval. So he would like to know if any investment is required before landing in Canada. As per the IRCC site, there is no requirement for early investment.
And that's correct. Mainly, if you are getting your startup visa application through an incubator, which will provide you the letter of support. The investment that you are doing, it's literally the incubator itself, right? But there's no further investment required for your business. Of course, there is the proof of income, which is individual. And the reason they do have that is because not all companies will be providing revenue right away, which you could be having an income, right? So that's why there is the need for you to prove that you have enough funds to support yourself.
Exactly. And I see a question here with family members. It's the same with family members. If you're bringing, I believe, one person with you, it's a different level of proof of funds. Two people, you need a little bit more money because exactly that, you need to prove you can support them. So just
a funny point very quickly here. Some people think that not including the family members in the application will lower the proof of income requirement, which is not correct. So even if you're not including your family, you're still supposed to provide to your family. So
Yeah.
you will have to prove the funds regardless if they're joining you in the process or not.
Yeah, so that takes us to this next question too. There's 5 people who can apply for Startup Visa Program. Can any family member be one of them?
Well, yes, why not? You could have a brother, sister, an aunt, or father, mother being your co-founder. It's fine as long as it makes sense. You cannot make this program like, oh, I'm gonna gather my family and we are all gonna get a PR in Canada, because each person should be meticulously selected to be part of your company, because each one will have a role and they must prove that they're eligible and not eligible, sorry, they're capable of performing the duties of that role. So we look at the background to make sure that, yes, you not only have the experience or education or both, but you can prove, right? We need to prove that you are capable of doing it.
Exactly. So if it's you and your brother and you've been working on this business since college and he's the CTO with a tech degree, that makes sense. But
Yes.
if you just have a random cousin on your SUV application who has 0 experience and started working for your company 6 months ago, that might be a bit of a red flag.
Yeah, that's a big red flag right there. Yes.
Big red flag, I should say, in fact. Perfect. All right. So we have another question here from Yanda. Are you able to work for another business while building your business?
Well, it depends. First of all, when you apply for a startup visa, this is a PR application. You not necessarily will be in Canada. When you choose to apply for the work visa in Canada and then you come to Canada, currently the work visa is closed, meaning you can only work for your own business in Canada. So if you cannot look for jobs in Canada with a closed work visa, right? So you're only allowed to work for the company that has the name on your permit.
Exactly.
Now, if you still have your business back home, even though you're physically present in Canada and you can work remotely to that business back home, that's okay, because you're not working for a Canadian business, right? You're working for your own business back home. So that's fine. There are talks about open work visa in the future, but immigration hasn't released any instructions for that yet. So we see that it's coming, but for now, it's just a closed visa so far.
Exactly. Very good point. The IRCC has announced their intention to do an open work visa. However, it is merely that so far. It is just an intention. There's nothing confirmed at the moment.
Yeah, the way that I've been putting it is a promise so far.
Yeah, so it depends on how much you trust them with that.
Well, they've been fairly good in keeping their promises to a certain degree.
That's good to know. That's good to know. All right. Perfect. So I see one question here. My business is in the luxury startup. Am I eligible to apply? So, like I said, we are industry agnostic. If you think that your business isn't necessarily impact based, just think about what I said. Think about how I mentioned conducting your business in an impact based manner, right? There's different levels to it. One of the things that Spring looks at is diversity and equity and inclusion in who we hire. So it could be as simple as that, how you hire people, how you maintain records. There's a lot of different things. So I always say, if you're concerned that your business isn't impact based enough, apply anyways. You never know. And if you're
Yeah,
interested, yeah,
keep in mind the innovation part of it. Keep in mind the job creation, and is your business has a potential to compete in a global market, right? If you think that you can cover these three, you probably are eligible.
exactly. So those are IRCC requirements, which are, they have to be there. You have to maintain those. And then impact is something from Spring. So always think
Exactly.
innovation, impact, and Canadian economy and ecosystem.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I haven't seen this one before, and I'm actually not sure if that's possible. Can you apply for a work permit and PR at the same time?
Great question. So here's how it works. If you have a group of 5 members, all 5 members are considered essential, right? Meaning they will all apply for the work visas. The requirement right now is that all members should submit their PR applications first, because you have to prove that all members applied for the PR before you applied for the work visa. So my quick answer would be no. You must apply for PR first and then apply for work visa. You can apply for the work visa next day, but one must come first, and that's the PR.
Good to know. That's good as well, because I've heard that the main thing is it's a waiting game and you got to get in line. So get in line as soon as you can.
Yeah, in a sense, the PR processes are taking longer than they used to, and submitting your application sooner, as long as you meet all the requirements, will definitely improve your chances of getting the PR faster. Not faster than the processing time, the usual processing time, but faster than if you take longer to apply.
Absolutely. All right. Does the Spring impact fee cover the immigration fee? So no, our fees are separate. The Spring fee is just for the actual program and our paperwork side of things. And then the second area of things is the immigration consultant fee. And then finally, you also have to remember there's always proof of funds. So always keep those three things in mind when you're looking at how much money do I need for this, right? The Spring fee, your regulated Canadian immigration consultant or lawyer fee, and your proof of funds to prove to the Canadian government that you can support yourself and whoever you're bringing with you.
And the application fee as well. Sometimes you're going to have to do medical exams, translations, and so on. So
IELTS,
biometrics, yeah,
the language test fees, that's a big one.
language test.
Even
Yeah,
on that note, I know that lately, I don't know if you've seen this, Rafael, but people have been having trouble booking language tests.
in
So
some countries, yes.
yeah, if you're interested and you know that, in your country you're having trouble booking those, book it in advance as far as you can. And I believe they are viable for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, 2 years.
And important information that thanks for mention that. We must submit the valid English test result at the moment of your application. It doesn't have to be valid all the way to the end. So as long as you submit a valid test, you're good.
Good to know. All right. Okay. So this is a good one as well from Ali Reza again. So he points to how you mentioned about proving a member's capability. So one of their team members has been working in their career as a freelancer and doesn't have experience in a company. How should they demonstrate their capability as a software developer? What are some good ideas here to show their capability?
Well, if there is education, for example, if the person has a bachelor degree or something like this, it kind of helps a lot. But for freelancers, it depends. The freelancer could be freelancing for one company for a long time, or they could be freelancing for many companies, right? It all depends how many years of freelancing we're talking about and how many potential clients the person would have. But ideally, what we would try to do is to collect as much proof as we can that the person has been providing services to one, maybe two, maybe five clients.
Okay, perfect. Here is another good one on education and access to health services. Are these available during the work visa period or before
Yes.
PR? Yes. All right.
During the temporary visa as well, yes.
Perfect. I'm seeing a lot of, is it guaranteed to get PR once you're accepted in the program? What is
That's
this
actually
like?
a very good question. No, of course not. There's something that I always joke about. Uh, Guaranteed and anything related to immigration never go in the same sentence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So I will say on that as well, Spring has a policy to work with an RCIC. So it's not the Canadian government doesn't ask you of this. We do because we know that the SUV program is very niche. It's a very boutique program. It's one small program through hundreds of them. And so we want to make sure that your paperwork is done properly by someone who knows the program well. So we actually have a list of recommendations and I can say that everybody who has gone through our program and has filled out their paperwork properly has had no issues with their immigration. And if I think we have had some occasions where they do, but you can always appeal the decision. So that's always possible as well.
yeah, yeah. Working with being accepted in the program and working with an immigration firm, it's not guaranteeing the process, but it's effectively lowering as much as possible the chances of being refused, which is the most important thing. Understanding the documentation, making sure you submit a complete application, and believe it or not, most people that apply by themselves end up getting their visas returned. It's not refused, which is, I'm not sure if what's worse, but it's returned. So can you imagine you waited for almost 2 years to get an application returned to you, and then they said you missed one document? This
Yeah.
is terrible, right? So
Yes.
that's mostly what we make sure that it's not going to happen. You're not going to have an incomplete application. All the documentation is going to be properly set up, but more importantly, we're going to make sure that everything is correct according to the rules, according to the requirements.
Exactly. And just like we were talking about red flags, Raphael's been doing this for years. Spring's been doing this for years. So even though we're not even IRC or RCICs, we catch a couple red flags here and there, and we do our best to advise you. But we always say, listen to your RCIC; they know best. They are licensed to support you on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Da, 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 da. Let me see. So the work permit validity, someone is asking how long the work permit is valid. Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years?
As of right now, is a 1 year. This is very clear. It was never as clear as it is today. What is the duration of the work visa? The promise is that it's going to be up to 3 years. But as I said, that immigration hasn't released any further instructions about the longer and open work visa yet. So keep it with the 1 year closed work visa for now.
Perfect. So now I'm getting some questions on Spring's fees. So we do have two different program streams. You can get more information on our website. We are currently updating pricing as well. So there you might see some different numbers. And same thing with, I see a question on how many installments do we have to pay the spring fee. We do it in 2 installments prior to the program start date. But again, this is subject to change. All of that is always subject to change as we change our offerings, as we update program structure, as the years go by. All right. Let's take a couple more, and then I believe we are almost out of time. Let me see. So I see a question here about Spring helping in selecting the business and making business plans viable. So your business plan should already be fleshed out to a certain degree when you apply. You know, we ask for quite a few things. You'll see on our application form, we ask for financial forecasts, cash flow assumptions. We want to know that you've taken a look at your business idea and you've thought about the next few years, because it's on us to show the Canadian government that we think this business is going to work. So that's kind of where we start with the application process. First, you have to give us a little bit of something. Then when the program starts is when we support you with all these different things. So over the course of 12 weeks, you'll go through various topics such as sales, marketing, impact, of course, and pitching is a really big one of them. So every week you'll have this underlying topic on pitching. So pitching is very focused on. We help you with your elevator pitch. We work on presenting at the very end of the cohort. You get to present in front of all your peers. So it's basically a week by week touch, right? And it's through the course you kind of grow your business plan and make it more viable, but you do need a bit of a core business plan when you begin. All right, and let's take, I think, 1 or 2 more questions. How long will the entire process take from application? I love this question. I get it a lot. From application to due diligence to approval to LOS issue to landing in Canada. Thank you, Ori. I love this question. So I'll start with the first half and then I'll throw it to Rafael.
Yeah.
So from application to receiving an offer to the program, I recommend 3 months. It can take about a month for you to finish your application process, and it can take 1 to 2 months to do your paperwork. I think it's always nice to leave yourself a little bit of space before the program starts too, because you're going to do this amazing thing where you're leaving your home and you're moving to another country and you're taking your business and your family possibly with you. So it's a really big step. So I think it's nice to get it done early, have a couple of weeks before the program to just chill, breathe, and get ready for everything. So I would say 3 months from the program start date. Our program start dates are going to be posted on our website soon, and they will be at the same time each year, most likely. But yes, so 3 months from application to receiving your LOS and the program starting. And I'll let Rafael touch on the second part.
Yeah, great. So when we get to that point, we start processing the application. As I mentioned before, PR comes first. We must submit the PR first, so then we can submit the work visa. What happens is that the proof of funds requirement for the PR is a tricky one, and if you're not prepared with your funds, we must wait until you actually have the minimum requirement for the application. So it all depends on each candidate's financial ability. Also, they need to get the IELTS or whatever test that they're doing for the process, which are all the requirements, right? So once that you have the requirements ready, we can submit your application. Let's throw for an instance that the person is ready. The person has the financials, has then done the English test. We will probably take about a month to prepare the documentation and submit the PR, right? Once the PR is submitted, as I mentioned, we could do the next day, the work visa, right? It's possible. As long as we plan, organize everything correctly, we could do the next day. Once that you submit the work visa application, in general, looking back at an average of the applicants, we're looking at work visas being issued in 2, maybe 3 months. We had cases much faster. We also had cases that took longer. So as an average, I would say let's say 3 months. So 3 months for you, Dil, in your suggestion, another month or so to process PR and then submit the work visa, plus another 3 months. We're looking at a 7, maybe 8-month window so that you will apply and land in Canada, start off. Considering like a person that is completely ready with everything perfect.
Document.
I wish they were all like this. Most likely it will take a little longer because you need to get everything done. Some people don't even have passports ready.
Yeah.
And then you have to work on all of these, or maybe their passports are expired, they didn't notice.
Yeah.
Right.
That happens too. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say 8 months in total seems to be like the fastest a person could get. That's not usually what happens. I would say maybe a little bit more than that.
Awesome. Perfect. So that's all we have time for today. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you so much, Rafael, for joining with us as
thank
well.
you.
Lorene has thrown all the website links in the chat there, and this recording will be available on YouTube. So be sure to check that out. And if you'd like to join our next info session, we do this every month. There's more information on our website, spring.is. So I hope to see you next time, or I hope to see your application come through. Thanks again, Rafael. And
thank you so much, Dil, Lorene, and all the team for this opportunity. I hope that I was able to provide clear answers to the questions and bring some more insights in the program. And I really appreciate everybody for showing up. And so I know sometimes it's super early or maybe super late. So I really appreciate your time to being here today. Thank you
so much, Rafael, and thank you, everybody. We will see you next time, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.